And I think the second or third action is like, how was it desired? But we are separated in the early days, all the way back from.
It's about time, I guess, it was that because he was limping at Arthur's banquet. It's a year and a half ago.
But he had two kids who could work in the arms families. Dad, her father kept his vending machine going to serve.
We'll talk to you. That's the best time.
I think our neighbors yeah, we're fighting Germans heavily. I remember they came back from jail.
I guess you didn't see it on Friday. Because I know it all purple and ugly and swollen and holding it out. So I they're all nice little
Everybody's got
Stop.
Bailey's Rockstar, the singer.
That was my first lesson.
I am.
Stop.
What do I have to do? There'll be other people, right? Because I can't live. Did you know this was coming? So yeah, that'll be fun.
First of all, stage 2, 3, 4. So I would watch out stuff and everything was minor. No. He's not going to be brought by the store. She said no. You're right.
Like Heather.
So Arnie, I want to hear the rest of this 7 years, the money. I mean, this was like a Friday afternoon soap opera dance. You're like, what? What happened?
Frankly, I don't remember what happened. I lived in California. The plan was, I guess, it was made up in California. They live on the insurance proceeds.
There's a lot to say.
Dad didn't talk about it anymore. Maybe her phone line was being blocked. But I never heard anything after that. Or if I did, I forgot it.
Then it was discovered he was.
I just don't know what happened. Whether that was a big secret or my father wouldn't tell. But Socialist meetings, socialist meetings. Joe Gravinsky. Another cousin. My father
Right up there. Yeah. To the spaghetti house.
It was across the street from the building.
Yeah.
The building. Airplane.
Oh, was that close to you?
We didn't live in a suburb. Downtown. Extension of downtown.
So there's movie theaters across the street.
They weren't with
Okay. Or fire.
I actually walked to kindergarten at 5 years old down that main drive.
It's a kindergarten.
Major. Only had me. My kids crazy now. They would never allow I lived here. 5 years old. Walking down all the day. Just I mean, 5-year-old walking himself. Now his parents.
And your parents too. I know your parents show up there for a while. Angie and Major.
Mother and daughter, mother's fishers. Over and have their fish around.
Good to see you.
There's your Christmas.
Are you? No, she came just because of the Springfield connection.
Oh.
That she identified. What was Mary's last name? Mary Nozik, father. Joel. And his wife. I know you're ready to
Yeah. Very well.
That was the great part. I was bored as years.
When he was there, I sort of lost her.
Yeah.
But he was entertaining for 40 years.
Yeah, so there's just there.
Pizza place. Just a private tour that one of my friends was on. I was getting tired of taking ditches. For some reason, stayed out of it. So I went to Dad and I said, I do. I got a little money. It's just $260. He's like on the train to go coast to coast. America. So we had to go. It was like, third week of August. And he says, let's go let this start until September 15th. August, what do you get to 3 weeks? I can work. I'm going to take some time off. last time I sang that melody was on Friday afternoon with Rhoda and the family. And the melody is an invocation, really, for the angels, the special guardian angels, Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, and Raphael, to surround Rhoda with love and with presence. And Arthur described Rhoda as an angel, so it's appropriate that we're sending her off with the angels, the love and the protection of those angels, whatever angels may be. Hashem, Hashem, Elohei Yisrael, Mimeni Michael, Umismoli Gabriel, Umilfonai Uriel, Umiacharai Raphael, Ve'al Roshi, Shechina El. In the name of God, the God of Israel, may the angel Michael be on your right side, the angel Gabriel on your left, the angel Uriel in front and Raphael behind and all around the divine presence. Eshet Chayil Mimsa, V'rachok Mipinim Micha, a woman of valor, a woman of worth. Who can find her? Her price is far above rubies. Who can find a woman of worth, a woman of valor, is the question asked in the book of Proverbs, which is traditionally sung every Friday night. Who can find such a woman? It seems that we found one in Rhoda Nozik, a woman who exuded such love and light and kindness, for whom no one, whoever they were, ever had a bad word. She was Arthur's first and only girlfriend. They've been devoted to each other for 70 years, married for 68 years. And Arthur, as I just said, described Rhoda as an angel, as the perfect woman, and Eshet Chayil, the woman of worth. Rhoda was born in Springfield, Massachusetts on June the 5th, 1938, to Beatrice and George Fisher in an observant Jewish home. Marty, Rhoda's younger brother and only sibling, adored his sister, who was always very protective. If anything went wrong, she would rectify it. Beatrice was a strong and formidable presence, from the stories I heard, who sometimes pushed Marty to succeed, but Rhoda was always his shield, standing up for her baby brother whenever he needed an ally. Rhoda was the perfect sister who took very good care of her baby brother, intervening when she didn't think he was treated well. Rhoda's father doted on Rhoda, his only daughter. Judaism was very strong in their home, and Rhoda's father and Marty, her brother, both sang in the synagogue choir, and Rhoda was always very proud of them for that. One of Marty's early memories is that all the special dishes for Passover were kept in the basement, and when it was time to bring them up each year, Rhoda couldn't bear all of the dust and dirt that was on everything, even though it didn't seem to bother their mother much. So Rhoda just rolled up her sleeves and washed it all, making sure that everything was clean and ready for the holiday. Adrian, Rhoda's sister-in-law, said that the moment that she came into the family, Rhoda was so welcoming, supportive, and generous. Rhoda was just 17 and going into her senior year in high school when she met Arthur, met through a little trickery from his friend Arnold, who's here. They were blasting Mozart and Beethoven when Rhoda came over looking for Arnold's sister to find Arthur there. They went on a date that very same night to a movie, and they started dating ever since and continued. Arthur was 20 and already in college. They dated for 3 years, and when Arthur, from a poor family, got a scholarship from Cornell, marriage actually became a financial possibility, and they married on September the 6th, 1958, just a few months after Rhoda's 20th birthday. There was a big Jewish wedding at Temple Beth El in Longmeadow, followed by a short honeymoon at the iconic Neverley Grand Hotel in the Catskills. As Arthur's early career and PhD path took them from California to New Haven, where Eva and Jane were both born, Rhoda pursued her own passion for education. Her academic journey spanned 3 states, culminating here at CU Boulder, where she earned her master's in special education with A+ distinction. She turned down a Fulbright scholarship opportunity because she was so supportive of Arthur's career. Rhoda was a devoted nursery school and kindergarten teacher, working some of the time in Jamestown in a 1-room schoolhouse. And the kids there, like everybody else, just adored her and loved her. And there were all kinds of letters from their families. One of the more exciting stories about Rhoda's teaching career was when Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward's daughter was one of Rhoda's students. And she was invited to their house for the parent-teacher meeting, and Paul Newman walked in wearing nothing but a towel. It was, needless to say, a very memorable parent-teacher conference. Arthur describes Rhoda as an entirely devoted wife and mother who anchored the family with boundless kindness. Truly, no one ever crossed her path. No one who ever crossed her path had a bad word to say about her. When Rhoda was finishing her master's, Eva was already a junior in college, and they became friends as adults with a very special relationship beyond mother and daughter, doing aerobics classes together and getting to know each other in a different way. And Eva said that her mother was a role model of how to live life to the full. Travel, love of the outdoors, passionate about her education. Rhoda was incredibly supportive when Eva was going through medical school. And in an era before cell phones and unlimited talk plans, Rhoda did something that perfectly captures her heart. She got a dedicated 1-800 number just so Eva could call home from medical school at any hour of the day or night without ever having to worry about the cost. And when Eva faced thyroid cancer years later, which she'll be sharing more about later, Rhoda dropped everything to look after her daughter, transforming a challenging recovery into a healing, joyful road trip. Eva called, Rhoda simply showed up. Nana Rhoda was always very close to her grandchildren, Isaiah and Maya. Was a very fun, active, present and energetic grandma. They were always connected. Even through Rhoda's mental decline, she was able to maintain connections and keep that joyful presence that she had. The kids always wanted to spend time with their grandma. The true essence, the soul, you might say, of Rhoda never left her. Judaism was always very important to Rhoda. She was a lifelong member of Hadassah, signed up by her mother, of course. Rhoda's grandmother, Bubi Esther Rochel, was one of the founders of National Jewish Hospital in Denver. And Arthur and Rhoda have been members of Bonei Shalom since the very beginning. Although I did not have the privilege of getting to know them well, they have always been very positive and supportive. Jane said that Rhoda loved her Judaism. She loved and felt connected to the spirituality, to the community. They always observed the major holidays, and Jane fondly remembers that their mother made everything traditional and completely from scratch for every holiday. She remembers her tying up the non-Passover cabinets with ribbons. And another memory, which she wants to make sure was not something that happened every day, is of Rhoda taking whole bagels smeared with peanut butter and bird seed and hanging them in the trees for the birds. Another example, perhaps, of Rhoda's compassion. Rhoda loved Hanukkah and loved all the Hanukkah songs, and they would sing and dance to the special Nozik Hanukkah tunes while the candles were burning, and there were always cute little gifts every night. Rhoda would also always open the home for Passover and other holidays for Hillel students and stray friends. Everyone was welcome, A place was always found at the table. And as Jane said, she always nailed it when the guests came. All the shopping, the cooking, the preparation, with every meal, the timing and the food were always perfect. Jane reflected that their mother was super sweet, teaching them life skills like swimming and never forcing them to do the things they didn't want to do. Arthur and Rhoda traveled all over the world together, and wherever they were, Rhoda would always connect and relate to everybody they met, whoever they were. In the famous rabbinic teachings of Pirkei Avot, Ben Azai says, "Do not despise any person nor discriminate against anything. She'en lecha adam she'en lo sha'a ve'en lecha davar she'en lo makom," because there is not a single person who does not have their hour, and there is no thing that does not have its place. Rhoda knew that. She had no attitude, no judgment about anything or anyone. She was a classy woman who could camp and hike and rock climb with the best of them and also hang out in elegant circles. She was athletic. She played guitar and auto harp. She remembered everything about everybody, and she would always write special little notes. Eshet Chayil Miyimsa, a woman of valor. Who can find her? We found her in Rhoda Nozik. Later in that same passage from the book of Proverbs, it says of this woman of valor, Piha potcha b'chochma v'torat chesed al lashonha. Her mouth opens with wisdom, and there is a teaching of kindness on her tongue. Torat chesed, Torah of loving kindness. Rhoda opened her mouth with wisdom, and there was a Torah of kindness on her tongue. As a teacher, a daughter, a protective sister, a fiercely devoted wife, a mother, a nana, a loyal friend, that is the light that Rhoda leaves behind. A life of no judgment, no pretension, and boundless warmth. May her memory always remain a blessing. May her gentle soul continue to shine as a source of strength and comfort to Arthur, to Marty and Adrian, to Eva, Jane, Isaiah and Maya, and to everybody whose lives were touched by her warmth, her humor, her kindness, and her gentle light. Amen. Amen. At this point, we're going to hear from members of the family, starting with Rhoda's beloved Arthur.
First of all, thank you, Rabbi, for a beautiful speech. Because words are insufficient to express the ultra deep love and passionate adoration I have for Rhoda, I decided after considerable consideration not to deliver a long talk about Rhoda, because Rhoda was an angel from heaven. She was a bright light to everyone who she interacted with, whether it was the family, her friends, caregivers, strangers, doctors, nurses, everyone. She had an instinctual reaction to this conversation to sing and to, when she was able to dance spontaneously. And this affected many, many people here in the community and elsewhere around the country and around the world. People would sometimes even be strangers, to me at least, and probably to Rhoda, but not to the people at Fraser Meadows, where we had lived since 2020. So one individual in particular stands out because he was one of those people who was very only tuned into himself. He never interacted with anyone. If he walked down the hall, he wouldn't say even hello to people passing by. But when he saw Rhoda and began to know her from afar, he went over and shockingly started singing to her, which was very, very surprising to me, since I thought that's the last thing to expect from this particular person. But that's the way she was. She had an ability to attract love from everyone who she met her, who were friends and relatives. And this was all at the spur of the moment. She didn't plan on these interactions. They just happened. They were very touching. So she was the light of the day. So when people always have periods of unhappiness and sadness, but when Rhoda met them spontaneously without having an appointment, just through walking down the halls, they may stop to say hello to Rhoda because everyone liked her over at Fraser Meadows, and she would start singing, and as I said before, she became disabled, would dance, singing and dancing spontaneously. During her life, she never yelled or harmed a single human being in her whole life. She always was respectful of people and tried to uplift them by way of her singing and her obvious feelings for people and understanding their own difficulties. As the rabbi mentioned, she was a great nursery school teacher, and she specialized in special ed for disabled and children who had disabilities. And I have at home a giant notebook full of letters from children who were from 5 to 6 or 7 years old, who were just pouring out their love of Rhoda, page after page. And then on top of it, she was brilliant. She got her master's degree in special education at the University of Colorado when we moved here. And prior to that, she received her undergraduate degree in education from Southern Connecticut State College in Connecticut, where I was doing graduate work. And she graduated, as the rabbi mentioned, with a perfect 4.0 average, and she was offered a Fulbright scholarship, but because of her devotion to the family, she felt she couldn't accept the Fulbright, which required spending time overseas. So in conclusion, Rhoda was a great human being, an exceptional human being, and I believe she was an angel from heaven. And she represented what the good Lord would like for every human being to be. And that's the way she was, and I'm going to miss her, and the family is going to miss her very much. Thank you.
Eva, after we know his oldest.
These classes.
Well, Rabbi, thank you for summarizing our long conversation yesterday so beautifully and just like so full of gratitude for all of you for being here. And I just had like a couple things I wanted to say about Mom. I think, one is just I felt so fortunate to have that chance as a young adult to really get to know her and beyond just being this mom who's always there taking such good care of us, and just to know her as this incredibly spirited woman, and going to aerobics classes together and to art galleries where she'd have these conversations that I didn't even know she knew so much about artwork, and doing mountaineering courses when she turned 50 and traveling the world and making friends all over the world. And so just really that opportunity to know her as a person, and just like hope I'm doing that with my kids in the same way. And I want to tell you a little bit about that crazy thyroid cancer story, because it's actually really sort of shows the kind of person that she was. So, that was Isaiah was 4 and Maya was 1 at the time, and I had this diagnosis, and I had to get surgery, and then I had to do this treatment where you go off your thyroid hormone, so you're like exhausted, and I had to drink radioactive iodine to get rid of any extra little thyroid cells sitting around. And I couldn't be around the kids for a week, and so we called in the village, and Josh's mom, Loie, came out to help at home, and Mom came out to be with me. And so we, because I couldn't be at home, we're like, well, let's go to the mountains in North Carolina. And we got a bed and breakfast, 2 rooms at a bed and breakfast, and we drove up there. I had to sit like in the way back opposite side of the car so I didn't contaminate her with the radioactive iodine coming from me. And we stayed at this bed and breakfast, and I think I probably slept, 15 hours a day. But the rest of the time, we went to the art gallery and took a little hike and went out to dinner and just like laughed and talked about like, I hope nobody, should we tell anybody what a good time we're having? This is supposed to be this really hard time, and we're having so much fun. So I think it just like I think it speaks to who she was, of like, in a moment, she was there. She was there for me. She was there for the family. She was, the same for her friends, just like, and then she had this just like positive, upbeat attitude to take any situation and see the brightness in it. I think that's all I could say.
Jane.
Sorry to bring the phone, but I just couldn't write it all down. Hello, so grateful that everybody's here, and old friends, close family, and new family, Mishpachah, and new friends, old friends, family. Thank you, Rabbi, for all the time you spent and how beautiful you captured Mom and being by her bedside. I think I'm going to start with, we didn't, the last few days we didn't necessarily always know when she was listening, but Rabbi came Friday, this time he met her, and the next day my dad said my mom he said, "Where's the rabbi?" And she really appreciated that. She did love Judaism, and there, wanted to say that there's a lot of invisible people here. The live stream is going, and there's actually a lot of people because so many people wanted to be here, for either the service or the Shiva, and they couldn't, so thank you for doing the live stream. And I just have to say hello because there's so many people that you all know who are here and present, and that's how I'm going to think about Mom, that she's going to be on the live stream all the time. Like, you may not be able to see or hear, but she's in the ether and the airwaves, and yes, there's so much. You captured things so beautifully, and I can't believe I'm getting through this so well. But so many people have been supporting and saying, we're there with you. It was really tough to speak of my grandma's funeral, but I did. But I so I'm glad that words are coming out. So I'm just going to, I'm going to not be as well paced as my dad and my sister, but I'm just, going to say like how much Mom just loved family, her family, all of her in-laws, Dad's whole family, Adrian and her family, like everybody. And everyone's friends became her family. I just have so many memories, and so many people came to me, like all my really dear friends. You always just heard, "Oh, we love your mom. I love your mom." And she loved their kids too. Friends that had kids, she would, oh my gosh, she would love them. Come over. She'd bake cookies. She'd take them on a hike. Like, she always had activities. It was really amazing. She loves nature, and wildlife and adventure and cooking. Oh my gosh, just worshipped her little brother, my Uncle Marty. So many amazing times of, like, we lived on the East Coast. We would pack up in the station wagon and drive to Vermont and do Thanksgiving, cross-country skiing, and then, we had Colorado memories. So she was always up for everything. And, both my parents just challenged me so much to be just everything, like so adventurous, and she was very daring. I mean, I don't know anyone who could, bake a knish and also in another photo have an ice pick, going down a glacier. I just thought of this as I was sitting there, I'm like, the knish and the ice pick, that was Mom. And I can't really say for me she was a role model, because I didn't realize necessarily like what the, I don't know what else was out there. She was Mom, and she just had all these amazing things. So I'm so grateful that, that she lived so long, and that, my nice, ripe age, everybody, because as life goes on, you just keep realizing, wow, she did that and that and that. Oh my gosh, I remember her singing and playing guitar. She did that, and then the cooking and all these things, and then the travels, and oh my gosh, and the rock climbing. And I remember Mom and Dad even saved some people that were wearing cotton in winter in the mountains, and they saved their lives and their digits and things. So they were like, it's just amazing, the photos. Mom was just so strong. And when I moved to New York and Five Flight walk up, she'd always come like, "Excuse me," she'd run up the stairs, up the 5 flights, and people would, "Oh, is that your mom?" She wasn't even out of breath. It was amazing. And it was so much fun in New York. She was so adventurous. I mean, we'd walk miles and miles, and food tasting, and just so many things, and art, like you said. Oh my goodness. And also back when I was here, she loved music so much, and I would take her to some of the concerts that I was promoting. So funny stories. I took her to Michael Jackson, and was promoting at the time, and she was so cute. She had this fringe leather jacket, and she was excited, and I was excited. I'm like, I can't believe people, cry so much at Michael Jackson. Oh yeah, I know, this is going to be great, but we're not going to cry. And soon as he came out, he's like, "Who's bad?" She's like, "You are." You are. I'm like, oh my God! Next thing I know, I am sobbing at the Michael Jackson concert. He just brought that out, and Mom was my, one guest, and she was. Oh yeah, she was. We were beside ourselves. It was so amazing, the dancing. I had no idea that magic. But I'll never forget that. You are so funny. And I have a great photo of her and I with the Michael Jackson stand up, which is now probably worth it. Yeah, I also wanted to say, well, I'll share that, again, the relatives that you can't see or hear. His mom had a lot of aunts and one uncle. She had a lot of first cousins and, second cousins. So I know they're tuning in. And even though people were far, they always held each other's, wonderful memories. And when the visits, could happen, it was, really special, but nobody, ever forgot. So there's a little bit of some words from Mom's cousins on the East Coast, and Lori says, Rhoda was our oldest cousin. She remembers Mom as an adult, as a young married early child educator who had the great fortune to be able to retell the story of meeting Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward while teaching their daughter, of course. Donna remembers Rhoda as a young mom who made all the coolest little really creative gifts at the Hanukkah party. Like, she was very innovative. And older cousins remember, Mom was the oldest cousin, I believe. Smart, beautiful, sweet person who they envied. Mickey and Judy remember it was always the three of us, and Mickey remembers everything, including her strapless prom gown from high school. Marcia remembers Rhoda visiting her at the hospital when she was young and bringing her a homemade jigsaw puzzle to keep her entertained. And that's, Mom's, I don't know how she had so much wealth of energy and creativity, and she didn't get burned out. She just could give and give. Incredible. More recently, everyone was able to join like the Zoom Hanukkah party and keep up with Mom and Dad's hikes and outings and, us kids and grandkids. And they just wanted to say that they're all here, with blessings and prayers. And to conclude, no matter how geographically distant everyone is or was, Rhoda was always an integral part in their hearts and minds, and they'll miss her a lot. And I know my grandmother's here, the parents, all the lineage. I was fortunate, we were fortunate enough to know Mom's grandma, Bubby S. Rockel, and Mom, her father died rather young, so Mom was really devoted to her mom. Even from afar, she would always make sure she got there, was taking care of her, and special this and that. So we were like celebrities at Temple Bethel when we went, because this is, anyone that she brought there, she proudly would introduce us, and at the JCC and Ruth's house and everything. So she was so good to my grandmother and everybody. And I'm, sorry if I'm missing anything, but she's just inspiring me. I can't believe I'm able to do this and speak, and I'm so grateful. So thank you. And she just, oh my gosh, she just loves everybody so much. I'm so grateful to you from her. Thank you. Thank you.
Isaiah and Maya going to come up now, like a lovely grandchildren.
I just wanted to read the email that I sent to Pop Arthur just a few days ago, because I know he got a lot of them coming in, so I just want to make sure that he heard it. So I've been thinking a lot about you and Nana Rhoda and all the special memories we have made all together. That Boulder home holds so many of my favorite childhood moments. As soon as I walked through the door, I felt at home. I can picture Nana Rhoda in the kitchen cooking something yummy, and you cracking nuts at the table with that fancy nutcracker. The walks around the neighborhood and all the awesome rocks to climb on. The cozy sleepovers in Mom's old room, and watching Nana Rhoda put her face on. That was her makeup. I loved laying in your bed and watching her put her makeup on. She was the most selfless, caring, loving, and supportive grandma, and I'm going to miss her each and every day. It's been a hard few years with her health declining, yet she somehow kept those core characteristics with her throughout. So much of it. She loves all of us so much, and we love her just the same. It's hard to imagine this world without her dancing and singing and hugs, but we'll figure that out all together. Our family has strength to endure any challenge ingrained in our DNA. You and Nana Rhoda taught me how to be adventurous, brave, and generous, even in the hardest of times. I love you both with my whole heart, and I'm thinking of you constantly. And because this was before she passes it, please give Nana Rhoda a big hug and kiss for me.
I didn't prepare anything, but just wanted to say that thinking about Nana Rhoda, I always just envision this warm, kind, inviting smile, and she just had a lightheartedness and a carefree attitude that she would bring with her. And I think about some of the high holly days where she would add her flair and twist to some of the songs, and would of course add dancing to any situation she could. And I just would really like to carry that carefree and kind and warmness with me in memory of her wherever I go. And I'll miss you very much.
At this point, family wanted to open it up a little bit if there are people here who want to share. We do have to get to the cemetery and fulfill this task of burying Rhoda, but it's important to hear some more words, and I know that Arthur's friend Arnie wanted to share some words maybe first, and then if anyone else wants to share something, but I would respectfully ask you to keep your comments brief at this point so we can move on with our service, but please.
This is one of the most touching services of my lifetime. And keep in mind, my lifetime is 90 years of my lifetime. This is the most touching, warm, loving, caring service that I've ever been a part of. Several of you have mentioned the word angels. Well, angels bequeath a certain kind of designation where they need sub-angels. They need angels to help them be angels. Every one of you is a sub-angel. Every one of you in this row is a sub-angel. And even angels sometimes cry with tears. But the angels feel that tears are not always sad, that tears are sometimes caring and loving and happy. And you heard a lot of the happy memories that angels want you all to have. And I love the laughter that you all brought to this service, including the rabbis. And not too many rabbis laugh at such a service. But as a psychiatrist, I think that laughter is completely normal. So none of you have a diagnosis. None of you need my therapy or treatment.
But you know, my family believes in angels. I don't particularly have the same relationship that the rabbi has with an almighty being. I think there's basic goodness in every single human being. But if they're not starving and if they're not abused, and they're brought up like Rhoda brought all of you up, then I think there's basic goodness in every one of you, and that's what you're doing now. What are you doing to serve humanity? Every one of you in this row have served humanity, whether you're a doctor or not. There's so many ways to serve humanity. Well, I have a best friend since high school. That best friend has the same basic goodness as Rhoda. His name is Arthur. Arthur is very modest, but I can say this to all of you. As a physician and half the scientist that Arthur is one of the most notable, globally renowned scientists in this world. Not in Boulder. I happen to be of the second most wonderful city in the United States. Boulder is one, but Boston is number 2. And Springfield, Mass. is maybe number 10. But Arthur and I, since high school, and I just want to give you one vignette. Arthur was from the North End. The North End was sort of the less fortunate. I'm trying to be very delicate in my describing of the North End. Well, we were both members of a fraternity, high school fraternity called Mu Sigma, and we achieved a lot. But there was a big, what's the word I'm looking for, Arthur? There was a big, anyway, whatever that word is. At 90, I'm okay if I forget a word. Where Arthur was decided to run for president.
Election.
What?
Election.
Election. Thank you, honey. She's much younger than I am, so that happens. But the 2 people running for election, one was Ed and one was Arthur. Ed was a shoo-in. He was a basketball player. He was 6'2". He was very good looking. And he had, coming for the election, it thought it was going to be a landslide. And then there was Arthur. A quiet, reserved, dignified, maybe one of the smartest kids in our high school. I couldn't get through chemistry without Arthur. So Ed Melman gave this talk, and everybody was like, okay, Ed's going to be the next president. And then Arthur, quietly, very quietly, just like he did today, came up and gave the most profoundly eloquent, to this day I'd vote for him for President of the United States. Never mind, I'm not going into politics. So Arthur got up there like a mensch. And suddenly what came out of Arthur was a brilliant, eloquent, deep, profound, what's the word? Speech. I did that on purpose. And everybody was looking at Arthur. Who was this guy from the North End? And we voted. And it was like a massive vote in favor of Arthur. And then Arthur looked at me, and I was 5'6" and 3/8 tall. And Arthur said, would you like to be my secretary, Ani? I said, I'd be glad to be your secretary. Well, Joan, my dear wife, Arthur and Rhoda, we've hiked together, we've traveled together, we've smelled the leaves, and we love the streams of Boulder. And if I have a brother who was not my biological brother, I will tell you now, It is this man, Arthur. So Rhoda's an angel. I like what you did, Jane, as you sat down. And I like what you said. My mom has not passed away, Ani. She's passed along. She's passed her baton that an angel has, a wand into each of you to carry out what Rhoda stands for. Warmth, love, beauty, never thinking of herself, selfless. She has repaired this world all the years that she was alive. And my heart goes out to Rhoda. And thank you so much.
There will be other opportunities in the shivers tomorrow and Thursday. But if is there anyone else who wants to just share something brief before we conclude our service here and move to the cemetery? Okay. Super brief.
I'm so sorry for your loss. And I didn't know your wife, but I grew up in Springfield, Massachusetts at Temple Bethel.
Oh.
And, you know, the roots run deep. And I'm so sorry that I never really met her. She sounds like she was awesome. So, I'm so sorry to hear of her loss.
I'm Lois Lux.
As Jane said, there are people on live stream, so maybe you want to come up here. I mean, if you want to.
No, I just felt I had to say something. So I guess I've known Rhoda and Arthur and Eva and Jane since they came to Boulder. We also lived on Bear Mountain Drive. I think maybe you even came to Bear Mountain Drive while we were still a block away. And Rhoda was a wonderful friend. Shirley and I used to go out with Rhoda for breakfast on her birthday. And we continued this right up through last year, I believe. We took cupcakes over to Fraser on her birthday. And Rhoda enjoyed them. And Rhoda was still Rhoda. Her smile. And you know, one day I hit my head in my kitchen and blood came out all over everywhere. And I called Rhoda. She came right over. I was so afraid I was going to pass out. And she ran over and helped me. But she was a long, long time friend. And Jane, you remind me of your grandmother.
Oh.
I saw her and you when you was talking up here. And you know, it was so wonderful when your grandmother would come out to visit, and she took Shirley and me and your mother out to breakfast on her winnings from Atlantic City. So anyhow, we're going to miss her. And maybe Shirley will still celebrate her birthday on Friday.
Yeah, Rhoda's birthday this Friday, 28. Anyone else? Again, there'll be other opportunities to share at Fraser Meadows, but let's sing again about those angels and recognizing, as Arnie said, the sub-angels and all the angels and the angels that surround Rhoda now. And we wish you, Rhoda, as much love and light on your continuing journey as you've brought us in your journey here. And may we always be accompanied by those angels, seen and unseen. Hashem, Elohei Yisrael, Mimini Michael, Umismoli Gabriel, Umilfonai Uriel, Umiacharai Raphael, Ve'al Roshi Shechinat El. We're going to conclude our service here with an El Malei Rachamim, which is the traditional memorial prayer. And immediately after that, going to invite the pallbearers to come up and help accompany Rhoda to the car. It is now raining outside, so we'll be efficient. And then there's going to be a procession following the car. There's going to be police escorts, as you will have learned. We have no access to go south on Cherryvale right now, so we'll just follow. If you are following the procession and going to Green Mountain Cemetery, please stay in a line and keep your flashing lights on so that the other traffic will know that you're part of that procession. Is there anything else to say about that, John? No. So thank you, Greenwood and Myers, as always, for your wonderful assistance here. So. And then the Shiva information, I think people know. The family are just going to have private time after the funeral, and then tomorrow and Thursday there will be gatherings in the chapel at Fraser Meadows, which is 350 Ponca Place, and if you go to the front desk, they'll help direct you. It's going to be visitation both days from 2 to 4. And then each of those days I'll be leading a short service at 4 o'clock, and there'll be more opportunities for people who want to share reflections and memories and stories about Rhoda. There was an interesting journey that Jane and I had in locating Rhoda's Hebrew name. But it's a lovely memory. Another one, Jane has a handwritten card in her mother's writing which has her Hebrew name on it. The trouble is Jane had a photo of it on her phone, and it took a little while to find it, but eventually we found the Hebrew name, and Jane was also able to text me a photograph of Rhoda's parents' grave, so we're able to get her parents' Hebrew names. So I'm telling you that because as I chant the memorial prayer, I will be saying Rhoda's Hebrew name. And if you're comfortable and it's easy for you, I invite you to rise for this prayer. El Malei Rachamim Shochein Bamromim Amatzeh Monocha Nochona Tachet Kanfei Hashchina Im Kedoshim Otoharim Kozohar Rakia Mazhirim Et Nishmat Rasha Ashna Bat Yosef V'chaya Basha Shehalcha Le'olama Ba'al Rachamim Yastireha בסתר כנפיו לעולמים. יצרו בצרו החיים את נשמתך אדוני ונחלתך ותנוח בשלום על משכבך ונאמר Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Rhoda Nozik, Rasha, Ashna, Bat Yosef, Chayabasha, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in the shadow of your wings, and may her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life with all the angels. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace. And let us say, Amen. So at this point, I would like to invite the pallbearers, Isaiah and Maya and Arnie and Jane and Mackenzie and Leah to come and we'll take directions from our friends from Bremen and Myers.
As we're leaving here and going down the ramp, if you guys just walk behind us, and Allie will be at the head of the casket, I'll be at the foot of the casket here. If you just walk behind us, and then when we get down to the bottom of the ramp, we'll have you on 3 on each side of the casket, okay?
And I'll just say to everybody else, I hope that many of you can join us at the cemetery. There hopefully will be some shelter in place there. It is a little wet right now, but we will be in Jewish custom once we move Rhoda in the casket from the car to the grave. There's a tradition of stopping 7 times to show that this is something that we have to do, but not something we're doing with joyful hearts. And so we're not going to do that now, but we will do that at the other end. And if, as Rhoda is leaving the sanctuary, if you in your own way want to send her love and blessings and wish her farewell, it's appropriate time to do that.